A struggling man walks into a Tesla dealership only to be mocked by the staff. What happens next when Elon Musk shows up will leave you speechless. The sleek Tesla dealership buzzed with activity, its glass walls gleaming under the California sun. Inside, polished salespeople move between customers, showcasing the latest models with effortless charm. In the middle of it all, a man in worn-out sneakers and a faded jacket stood quietly by the Model S display, his eyes scanning the car with quiet admiration. The man, whose name was Daniel, looked out of place among the luxury-seeking clientele. His hands were rough from years of hard labor, and his clothes spoke of someone who had more pressing concerns than the latest tech. Yet there was something about the way he examined the car, his fingers lightly brushing the door handle, that suggested he was serious. A young salesman named Brad, sharp-suited and brimming with confidence, noticed Daniel and approached with a faint smirk. "You looking for something?" Brad asked, his tone polite but tinged with condescension. Daniel nodded. "Yeah," he said softly. "I've been reading about these cars. I was hoping to get some information." Brad raised an eyebrow, glancing at Daniel's shoes before giving a half-hearted chuckle. "These are high-performance electric vehicles," he said, his tone shifting. "Not exactly budget-friendly. Maybe you'd be more comfortable checking out our pre-owned options?" Daniel blinked, taken aback. "I wasn't asking about the price," he said quietly. "I just wanted to know more about how it works." Brad's smirk widened as he gestured toward the showroom. "Look, buddy, this place is for serious buyers. I'd hate to waste your time, or mine." A few nearby customers noticed the exchange, their eyes flicking toward Daniel with curiosity and pity. Daniel's face flushed, but he held his ground. "I've worked hard all my life," he said firmly. "I came here because I've been saving for this. I don't think that's a waste of time." Before Brad could respond, the sound of footsteps cut through the air. The entire showroom seemed to shift as the unmistakable figure of Elon Musk walked in, his presence commanding instant attention. Brad froze, his confident demeanor replaced by wide-eyed shock. Elon's sharp gaze swept the room, landing on Daniel, and everything changed. The showroom fell silent as Elon Musk approached, his calm yet authoritative presence commanding attention. Dressed in a simple blazer and jeans, he exuded the confidence of a man who had nothing to prove but everything to say. His sharp eyes flicked between Brad, who stood frozen in place, and Daniel, whose worn clothes contrasted starkly with the gleaming luxury of the Tesla vehicles around him. Elon stopped just a few feet from Daniel, offering him a small, genuine smile. "Admiring the Model S?" Elon asked, his tone warm and approachable. Daniel, still startled by the sudden appearance of the Tesla CEO, nodded hesitantly. "Yeah," he said, his voice low. "It's incredible. I've been reading about it for years." Elon's smile widened. "It is," he agreed. "Cutting-edge technology, and it changes the way we think about transportation. Do you have any questions about it?" Daniel's eyes lit up, his passion overriding his nervousness. "Actually, yes," he said eagerly. "I've always wondered how the regenerative braking works, and if it's as efficient as they say." As Daniel spoke, Elon nodded attentively, engaging with him as though they were equals. He began to explain the details of the regenerative braking system, breaking it down in simple, clear terms that reflected his passion for making technology accessible to everyone. Meanwhile, Brad stood awkwardly to the side, his face pale and his posture stiff. The confidence that had fueled his dismissive attitude moments earlier had completely evaporated. He glanced nervously at Elon, hoping he wouldn't notice the earlier exchange. But Elon wasn't done making observations. As he finished his explanation to Daniel, he turned to Brad, his sharp gaze narrowing slightly. "And you are?" Elon asked, his voice still calm, but carrying an undeniable weight. Brad swallowed hard, his voice trembling slightly as he answered. Brad, sir. I'm one of the sales associates here." Elon tilted his head, his expression neutral but probing. "Brad," he repeated slowly. "Tell me, how do you determine who's worth your time?" Brad's face turned crimson, and he stammered, I didn't mean to." Elon raised a hand, cutting him off gently. "Everyone who walks through these doors deserves the same respect," he said firmly. "We're not just selling cars here. We're building a vision for the future, and that vision doesn't exclude anyone." The words landed like a hammer, leaving Brad speechless. Nearby customers, who had been pretending not to listen, exchanged glances of admiration. Daniel, meanwhile, stood quietly, his face reflecting both awe and gratitude. Elon turned back to Daniel, his tone softening. "Now," he said with a smile, "how about we take a closer look at that Model S? I'd love to show you how it works firsthand." Daniel's eyes widened in disbelief. "You mean with you?" he asked. Elon chuckled. "Of course," he said. "I built it. Who better to give you the tour?" As Elon led Daniel toward the car, the tension in the room dissolved, replaced by an air of inspiration and respect. But the night wasn't over yet. What Elon did next would leave an even bigger impression on everyone in the dealership. Daniel followed Elon to the sleek Model S on display, his hands trembling slightly as he ran his fingers over the smooth metallic surface. Elon opened the driver's side door with a flourish, gesturing for Daniel to take a seat. "Go ahead," Elon said with a smile. "Feel what it's like to sit in the future." Daniel hesitated for a moment before sliding into the plush seat, his eyes wide as he took in the minimalist dashboard and cutting-edge controls. "This is incredible," he said softly, his voice tinged with disbelief. "I never thought I'd get this close to something like this." Elon leaned against the doorframe, watching Daniel's reaction with genuine warmth. "You'd be surprised what's possible," he said. "A lot of people thought Tesla wouldn't make it when we started. But here we are. Sometimes the only thing stopping us is believing it's out of reach." Nearby, Brad watched the interaction, his face a mix of embarrassment and awe. The other sales staff, along with several customers, had gathered at a respectful distance, their curiosity piqued by the unexpected scene. Elon's casual demeanor and engagement with Daniel were unlike anything they had ever seen. "Tell me," Elon said, pulling Daniel's attention back, "why Tesla? Out of all the cars you could have dreamed about, what made you want this one?" Daniel hesitated, his hands gripping the steering wheel lightly. "It's not just the car," he admitted. "It's what it stands for. Innovation, breaking boundaries, proving people wrong. I've spent most of my life working hard, but I've never had anything that felt like it was mine. This feels like a dream I shouldn't give up on." Elon's expression softened, his respect for Daniel growing. "You're right not to give up," he said. "Dreams are worth chasing, no matter how far they seem. And sometimes you just need someone to believe in you." Elon straightened and gestured toward the rest of the staff. "Brad," he called out, his voice calm but commanding. "Why don't you bring us the paperwork for this car?" Brad blinked, clearly confused. "The paperwork, sir?" he stammered. "But," Elon interrupted, his gaze steady. "Yes, Brad. I'm buying it for Daniel." A collective gasp rippled through the room, followed by murmurs of disbelief and admiration. Daniel's jaw dropped, his hands falling from the steering wheel. "Wait, what?" he asked, his voice shaking. "You can't be serious." Elon grinned. "Completely serious," he said. "Consider it an investment, in your dream and in you." Tears welled up in Daniel's eyes as he struggled to find the words. "I don't even know how to thank you," he said, his voice breaking. "This means more than you'll ever know." Elon placed a reassuring hand on Daniel's shoulder. "Just promise me one thing," he said. "When you've achieved your dream, pay it forward. Help someone else believe in theirs." Daniel nodded fervently, overcome with gratitude. The entire room burst into applause. The staff and customers united in awe of the moment. But Elon wasn't done. He had one final surprise that would leave everyone there truly stunned. The applause in the dealership was electric, filling the air with a sense of unity and admiration. Daniel, still seated in the Model S, wiped tears from his eyes as he tried to process the overwhelming generosity Elon had just shown him. The onlookers, from the sales staff to the customers, whispered among themselves, marveling at what they'd just witnessed. Elon turned back to the crowd, his presence commanding but approachable. "Now I want everyone here to understand something," he began, his voice steady. "This isn't about me giving away a car. It's about showing that when you believe in someone, it can change their life. Kindness and respect should be the foundation of everything we do, no matter who walks through those doors." The crowd nodded, several people murmuring their agreement. Brad, standing awkwardly by the counter, looked down, his earlier arrogance replaced by a mix of shame and reflection. Elon's words carried weight, and it was clear they had struck a chord. Elon continued, his gaze sweeping across the room. And as a reminder of that, I'll be giving every staff member here a bonus this month, he announced, his grin widening. Because when you feel valued, you pass that on to everyone else. Gasps rippled through the employees, followed by cheers and grateful smiles. Emily, the dealership manager, stepped forward, her face a mixture of admiration and gratitude. Thank you, Mr. Musk, she said sincerely. You've not only inspired Daniel today, you've inspired all of us. Elon nodded, his expression warm. Good, he said, because this is just the start. Let's make sure the people who walk into this dealership leave with more than just a car. Let's give them something to believe in. Turning back to Daniel, Elon gave him a final smile. Your dream's in your hands now, he said. Drive it like it's the start of something big. Daniel, still overwhelmed, nodded fervently. I promise I won't let you down, he said. Thank you. Thank you for everything. As Elon stepped back, the staff and customers broke into applause once more. The moment wasn't just about a car, it was about the lesson, the reminder that kindness and belief could transform lives. But Elon had one last touch planned to ensure this night would be remembered forever. As the applause slowly faded, Elon Musk stood in the center of the dealership, the atmosphere charged with inspiration. Daniel climbed out of the Model S, still visibly emotional, and turned to Elon. You've done more for me tonight than I ever thought possible, he said, his voice steady despite the tears in his eyes. I'll never forget this. Elon smiled warmly, placing a hand on Daniel's shoulder. Just remember, he said, every step you take from here is part of the story you'll tell. Make it a good one, and when you can, help someone else write theirs. The crowd, captivated by Elon's words, stood in quiet admiration. But Elon wasn't finished. He turned to Emily, the dealership manager, his tone light but meaningful. Emily, he said, I want you to set up a program here, a fund to help people who are working hard to turn their lives around. Let's make sure Daniel isn't the last person we help. Emily's eyes widened, her respect for Elon deepening. We'll make it happen, Mr. Musk, she said confidently. Thank you for giving us the opportunity. Satisfied, Elon glanced at Brad, who stood silently at the edge of the room. Brad, Elon said, his tone steady but not harsh, I hope tonight taught you something important. Brad nodded, his voice barely a whisper. It did, sir. I won't forget it. Elon gave a faint smile. Good. Kindness isn't just about the big moments. It's about the small ones too. Keep that in mind. With that, Elon turned back to the room, addressing the crowd one last time. Tonight wasn't about me or even Daniel, he said. It's about what happens when we treat each other with respect and believe in the power of dreams. Let's keep that energy alive, not just here, but everywhere. The room erupted into a final round of applause as Elon made his way to the door, the ripple effect of his actions spreading through the staff and customers alike. Daniel stood by the Model S, watching Elon leave with a renewed sense of hope and purpose. As Elon stepped into his own Tesla and drove off into the night, the dealership remained abuzz with energy and reflection. For Daniel, it was the start of a new chapter. For the staff, it was a wake-up call to embrace kindness and humility. And for everyone who witnessed the moment, it was a story they'd carry with them, a story about how one man's belief in others could leave a legacy of inspiration. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more incredible tales of kindness and humanity. Watch more inspiring moments that remind us all of the power of respect and belief in one another.